What is up, guys, and welcome to episode number 17 and the final one for F1 2016. This is the League Racing Championship Aussie Sim Racing. I'll leave a link down in the description if you want to get involved in the leagues, because the sign-up process will probably start opening up once F1 2017 starts to arrive. So here we are for the finale, the Brazilian Grand Prix. Lots to play for in the championship, even though the race for the title itself is over. The battle for second place is well and truly on, as you can see in the driver's standings, just 3 points separating myself and Fitcho. Basically, the goal for me is to beat him today. As long as I finish on the podium and beat Fitcho, we get second in the standings. And also with the Constructors battle, that is ridiculously close as well. 4 points to Force India. Unfortunately, New Zealand Ryan doesn't have his Force India teammate to back him up in this round. So it might be an interesting race in terms of the Constructors. Warden has had a lot of bad luck, and fingers crossed he can have the race that he deserves today. But here we are for the Brazilian Grand Prix in qualifying. Decided to go for the aggressive tyre strategy, the one in which you get 3 sets of soft compound tyres, and hopefully that can give me some kind of strategy advantage heading into the race, getting 3 qualifying runs in. Because of the short lap time around here in Brazil, you can get easily 3 runs in, so that's what I was aiming to do here. First lap done. Wasn't that great, to be honest. 11.0, half a second away from where I was hoping to be. Coming into this weekend in practice, I was getting low 10s, and that's kind of the marker where I want to be heading into this quality session if I want to challenge for pole position. It's definitely going to be close, though. It always is at Brazil. But yeah, we did a second lap on the soft compound tyres. Went pole position provisionally with a 1 minute 10.9. I don't think the conditions are entirely optimal either at the moment. Bit of cloud cover and the temperature is a bit down, and so times are a little bit slower than what you would expect at the start of the session. But hopefully the track can rubber in quite a bit and we can really start to see some Hollywood numbers towards the end of the session, hopefully. But yeah, second run, completely screwed up that run there through turn 1. Went in way too deep, pushed way too much, and decided to back off from the lap straight away and go again on the next one, save some fuel. And that's what we're going to do now, because I only filled the car up for like 3 kilos worth of fuel, or 3 laps worth, whatever the number is. But we go for the second attempt on the tyres, and that run through the first sector as well was not amazing. But thankfully enough, we managed to recover a bit through the middle sector, and we go purple to the second sector split, only up by 0.02 of a second as we go to the line, improve by 1/10.5, and we close within half a tenth of New Zealand Ryan's pole time at the moment. So the standings as they are with 4 minutes to go, we got Greek Master leading the way with a 10.6, New Zealand Ryan, our championship leader, P2, and we're just a whisker away in third. Warden, my teammate, has done really well to be up there on the medium tyres as well, so he's going to be pretty threatening for the race if he decides to start on the mediums. But as we head out there, we've got to find, I don't know, 2-3 tenths at least to get on pole position. But if we really want to stay in pole position at the end of the session, we need to find something like 5 tenths. It needs to be a low 10 in order to be competitive for the pole position running today. Through turn 1 and 2, and the center S's, much better run. 2.5 tenths up as we just go to this second straight here to the first sector split. We're almost going to be 3 tenths up, so that is exactly the kind of sector and the start to the lap that I wanted. Nice and clean through turns 4 and 5. And the gap almost extends to 4 tenths as we go through the middle sector now. 5th gear through here. Get on the power as early as you can and then brake really late for this right-hander. I went in a bit too deep there. Locked up the inside front tyre, and that's at least cost me 1/10.5, maybe 2 tenths, as we now drop the delta to just around 3 tenths. So pretty disappointing to make that mistake on this lap. But apart from that, it's been very clean so far. 4.5 tenths up as we go through the middle sector split. A little bit indecisive there as to what gear to use through the final corner. And as we exit it, we're just under 5 tenths up on our session best so far. Open the DRS and the run up to the line. Try and stay to the left if you can. And it is a 1 minute 10.357. Puts us on provisional pole for the moment with only 30 seconds to go in the session. It was a good lap. It was really clean. but I just really wish that I didn't make that mistake in the middle sector. That would have been a 10-2 or a 10-1 without that mistake. But now we've just got to do that painstakingly long wait for everyone to do their laps. Greek Master to the line. Does he improve on his 10-6? He does. Pole position, and he's at least done a 10-3 there. We watch as New Zealand Ryan now completes his final run. He's in third place right behind me on the second row of the grid. Can he improve and knock me off the front row? No, he can't. So there we go. That is qualifying for the Brazilian Grand Prix. In the end, we were just 44 hundredths away from our maiden pole position this season. And it turns out we're hashtag not blessed. But P2, front row of the grid, I'll definitely take it. I don't think I've got a pole position this season, which is quite outrageous. I'm going to have to work on that for next season. The qualifying efforts have not been good. Although it has improved the last few races, still not quite there. But P2, I'll take it. Let's go to the race for the Brazilian Grand Prix. So here we are for the race then, for the finale of Aussie Sim Racing Season 2. By the way, I forgot to mention that Fitcho is starting from the back. He got a grid penalty for making contact with Brock on one of his qualifying outlaps, and he decided not to qualify and have a tyre advantage by starting on the mediums or the hards. So in terms of our strategy, we'll be hopefully running the two-stop, providing any damage doesn't happen to the front of our car. I think we'll be pitting around lap 7, lap 8, fitting on the hard compound tyres, and then around 23, 24, we'll be going to the end on a set of mediums. So I'm quite familiar with the strategy, so we can adapt that here and there depending on how the circumstances of the race unfold. But here we go, ready for the final race of the season here in Brazil. 5 red lights, and we are underway for the finale. Looks like a very even start for all the leaders running into turn 1. I could have gone up the inside of Greek Master there. Didn't really fancy a first corner pile up. So we're going to settle into P2 at the moment as New Zealand Ryan attacks me around the outside. And it looks like he might have the better momentum, better flow as we head down into turn number 4. Ryan giving me a little bit of a squeeze there. And we just managed to avoid. Brock, though, has run into the back of my gearbox there. And that's caused a bit of a domino effect for the cars down the order. No one really at fault there, and here's the replay of what happened on board with Pomps to the win. Yeah, a bit of a Constantino effect. Me and Ryan having to go in a little bit slower, and then Brock does stuff, ran into the back of me, and then because Brock was going so slow, other people ran into him, and it was just a big domino effect, unfortunately. But lap 2, Greek Master leads. I'm in second place. I'm chasing down him as I finally start to get into a bit of a rhythm. New Zealand Ryan was battling away with Brock does stuff. But Ryan got back in front of him again, and now I set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on lap 3. So we're now within DRS range of Greek Master, who got off to a really nice start. Built out a bit of a gap while myself and Ryan were trying to form into position. But now that we're in clear air, we found a bit of a rhythm. We are starting to show a bit of our pace. Me and Greek in qualifying were very evenly matched, but I feel like I might ever so slightly have the edge here in terms of the pace this weekend, given that I did make a mistake on my qualifying lap, and I have chased down Greek from well outside a second in terms of his race margin, and now we lead. So yeah, very good start to the Grand Prix so far. Now let's hopefully stay in front if we can. Greek looks very desperate to get back in front of me again, and he does so into turn 4. So a very surprising move there. He wants to be racing that hard this early in this Brazilian Grand Prix. That's Harry Ryan going off at turn 4. That's a carbon copy of what Lewis Hamilton did back in 2014. And I believe it cost him the lead or the win in that Grand Prix. But either way, we cut back to the action here on lap 6. Still following behind Greek Master. He's made a mistake heading into turn 1. And that's going to compromise his run going through the center S's. And hopefully we can capitalize on that. Rich Revs. DRS is open, and we're going to go around the outside on the run into turn 4. Into the lead once again. Are we late under brakes? I tried to be, and Greek doesn't really challenge up the inside there. So it looks like Greek might be a little bit slower than I am, and he probably recognizes that, and he's trying desperately hard to overtake me at just about every opportunity. A lunge into turn 1 and to have to leave him the space there. That was so close to making contact there for the 2 leaders, but we hold on for the moment. A little bit frustrating though that Greek is really persistent on trying to get the lead back and slowing us both up. It's allowing the cars behind us like Warden and New Zealand Ryan to catch up this amount of squabbling that's going on right now. So on lap 7 I've decided to just sit back and let him have the lead. He clearly wants it for some reason, so I'm just going to sit behind him, look after my tyres a little bit, look after my fuel, and see how that goes. Looks like he's actually pulling into the pit lane now for his first pit stop. So I'm going to do the opposite, stay out a lap longer, try and push these tyres to their absolute limits right at the death of their life, and see if we can make something of this strategy by having fresher tyres for the rest of the Grand Prix, try and do an overcut and, you know, really show our pace. We actually went purple at the first sector on pretty dead soft compound tyres, which I was very impressed with. But into the pit lane now. It was a very perfect in-lap considering how old the tyres were, and I think we should be very close to Greekmaster by the time we rejoin. Of course, he's going to get an undercut. It just depends on whether he encountered traffic on his outlap as to whether he's going to retain the lead here. As we rejoin, it looks like he's going to do so, and yeah, the gap is only less than a second. So like I said, really good outlap, good pit stop, and we're pretty much with Greekmaster now, and we haven't really lost anything. If anything, we just have fresher tyres, and we have a bit of a strategy advantage later on in the Grand Prix, a bit more flexibility. So second half of the race now, I've been a little bit soft on Greekmaster. I've kind of just been following him, letting him pull away from the rest of the field. I didn't want to battle too much until we got to this point here, 13 laps in. Been saving a lot of fuel, and now I'm going to turn the wick up and try and overtake him if I can. Up to rich revs, out of the center S's. And unfortunately I had to lift off there because Greek, I wanted to go to the inside, and in order to avoid making contact I had to lift off there, and that hurt my momentum, but we still got the move done anyway. Still got into the effective lead of the Grand Prix on lap 13, but now we're trying to pull away now that we've got the lead and a little bit of a margin. If we can just break outside 1 second, then we might be able to run away with this race, but unfortunately, as it is on F1 2016, the slipstream is so powerful, and you know, one decent lap from Greekmaster and he's right on the back of me again. So that was really frustrating. I really overworked the tyres and the fuel trying to build out that margin, but after that I thought, screw it, we're going to be locked in a really tight battle all race now. I can't really pull away from him unless he makes a mistake. I'm just going to have to wait for that, but for now we're just going to have to grind away and continue to battle like Greekmaster is doing here. It might sound like I'm complaining, but at the same time I'm really enjoying this because it's a battle at the front, a battle for the lead, one that I've been really loathing to have all season. I'm really happy to actually have such a tight battle at this stage of the season. As we go through turn 4, very tight between the two of us. And Greek, no! There's contact and we're both out spinning. That's exactly not what we wanted. Fighting for the lead of the Grand Prix, and New Zealand Ryan and Warden pick up the pieces as they move into second and third effectively in this race. Here's a replay from Greekmaster's point of view. He's on the inside, and it's so close between the two of us, and we've just come together there. Greek has actually lost a bit of his front wing, and is going to have to come in and fix that. But I'll bring up a replay that shows both of our points of view. If you look at Greekmaster, he kind of straightens out right here, and because the next corner is a left-hander, we both have to turn left, and Greek has just gone straight, just for a fraction of a second, but that's all it took when the two cars were so close together, and it's resulted in a calamitous result for the two race leaders, and yeah, we've just thrown away the race. To New Zealand Ryan, Warden, and even Ex-Fitcho, who was actually leading the Grand Prix on his one stop. But after that, I was, you know, just angry that it happened. I wasn't angry at, you know, Greekmaster for it happening. It's racing incident where none of us intended for that to happen. It just did. But I used that to put in some good laps and catch up to the group ahead. We've now got my teammate Warden and New Zealand Ryan right in front. We're still in a constructors fight at the moment, believe it or not, and we're going to try and do our best to finish in front of him. We faked to go into the pit lane. I think maybe that triggered New Zealand Ryan to pull the trigger and go into the pits and fit on his medium tyres, which was definitely a little too early to do that, so he might be a little bit vulnerable at the back end of the Grand Prix, but I decided to pit in a lap or two later, 23, and we're going to fit on the medium tyres. I was actually surprised that Warden didn't pull the trigger and go into the mediums himself, so I'm going to try and do the undercut on him and see if that works, but the gap to Warden is about a second or two, so I'm not entirely confident that the undercut is going to work here, but Fitcho, who's done the one stop, has actually rejoined in front of us, which is quite interesting. He's now played himself into this race now by doing the one stop and being very consistent on very worn tyres. Fitcho has done that race in, race out over the course of the season. It's very impressive that he's done it, but he's really played himself in well today. But lap 25, while trying to chase down New Zealand Ryan, we got some news that we really didn't want to hear.
Engine is showing small signs of wear. Power output will be down.
Yeah, really annoyed to get that message from the engineer. Unfortunately, overtaking is going to be a little bit harder for us in this Grand Prix now, but for some reason we really fly past New Zealand Ryan there. Maybe he's got some damage to his engine as well, as we actually go purple, which was really encouraging to see. Warden has actually made his pit stop while all this is happening as well, and the race in the final 10 laps is really going to kick off here, as we have both the McLaren Hondas 1 and 2 doing their one stops. Warden is chasing them down as well, and we're just in the watching brief in P4 here, as all of this is going to unfold right in front of us. So this battle for the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix has just gone from 0 to 100 in the last 10 laps. It was going to be just a two-horse race between myself and Greek. The heavens opened as soon as we made contact and lost, 10 seconds, and has now opened its way up to a 4 or 5-way battle for this race lead as we head on to lap 29. Cars ducking and diving every which way. Warden trying to find a way around Fitcho. KMP4 in the wall. Such a shame, because he was in a really good position with so little laps to go, and once again, being at the front, his race has ended a little prematurely, but we've got to move on now. This battle for the lead is really heating up here as Warden goes up the inside of Fitcho. I try and follow him up the inside as well, just trying to maintain my distance though as well, because it's so easy to lose a front wing running into the back of another car, but we managed to avoid any damage for us, and Fitcho loses the lead to Warden, who looks like has the best pace at the moment. He's on the fresher tyres, and Fitcho is going to try and get him back past. Again up the inside, Warden defends, but he's not going to defend from me though, as we go up the inside, 3 wide for the lead at turn 1, and Fitcho comes out on top. We go to the left-hand side, and now Fitcho's got a compromised run through the center S's, and it's going to be a side-by-side affair for the two of us for the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix with 6 laps to go. Fitcho tried to squeeze me out, couldn't deny me the opportunity, and now we've taken the lead. What an amazing turn of events. Those last 4 corners were 3 wide between all of us, and it's still not over as Fitcho goes up the inside into the fast right-hander, and that's my opportunity over. Back down to 3rd place, because I couldn't make a move on Fitcho around the outside. How insane was that? But now we're going to calm down from all the action. We'll have a look at some replays. This is the incident with KMP4. Gets caught up on the curb, and in conjunction with that, I think Warden was moving over, and they both moved over into each other's lines, and the closing speed was too much, and this was the move for the lead of the Grand Prix. That was really scary as well, because Warden, as you'll see here, moves over on me right at the last minute, had to lift off and swerve to the inside, goes millimeters away from the wall as well, trying to go up the inside of Fitcho, and we both split him around the outside of him, and then the opportunity presents itself to go up the inside of Fitcho. We make that move stick, and unfortunately didn't get the exit off of there that I would have liked. Fitcho goes back up the inside, takes the line, and yeah, because Warden is right behind him, he gets the position back as well. So it's back to the drawing board and back down to 3rd with 6 laps to go in this Brazilian Grand Prix. How insane is this race? We've had some pretty crazy races last week especially as well, but this one just tops it already. It's quite mad, but again, we're battling away. This is Warden, who got a bad run off turn 1 and 2, and now we're going to try and hopefully overtake him as we run into turn 4 now, back up the inside and into second place. So I wanted to get a clean shot at Fitcho again. I knew if I just had one more, I could get to the lead, and I wanted to stay there as well, because I really felt like I was quicker than Fitcho. I felt like I was quicker than Warden as well. We got the inside of Fitcho into the middle sector. A little bit unexpected, but I was using the elements of surprise to get the move there. Fitcho was a wake up to it, and again we get squeezed, and we try and make the move stick up the inside. First gear wasn't really the best gear selection, as we made contact as well. Couldn't get the drive off the corner that I wanted. Should have stayed in second. I could have gone up the inside as well there into the final corner as well. So many decisions that, you know, can affect the outcome of the race, but it's always really hard to know which decision is the right one. But hopefully we'll have another opportunity as we get back in the slipstream of Fitcho to the inside. No, he blocks, and we're in the wall. Front wing damage. And I think that's curtains for our race. Yeah. Tried to go for the inside. I think we both knew the importance of being on the left-hand side through the first few corners. If you can get there, then you'll have a better run up to turn 4 as well. And for some reason, Warden lets me go there. I didn't know why at the time, but he told me afterwards that he had front wing damage. And I don't even know where that would have came from. Maybe from his final pit stop. But yeah, so that made things a little bit awkward with 3 laps to go. We got to chase down Fitcho. The gap is well outside a second, 1.3 seconds. So yeah, with front wing damage, with an engine that isn't producing full power, it's going to be very, very tough to win this Grand Prix from here. But I'm hoping that I can use a psychological advantage to my favour, because I know that Fitcho hasn't won so far this season. I know he's going to be nervous, and we're going to just have to try and play on that in these dying laps of this race. New Zealand Ryan has caught up to Warden, and since getting the front wing damage, his pace has just gone completely out the window, and now Ryan is overtaken him for a spot on the podium, which is really unfortunate there. But heading on to the final lap now, this is a replay of us getting DRS, and that was pretty much the turning point for us. As soon as I got that, I was like, yes, we're back in the game. We got DRS for the next run on the straight, and the gap to Fitcho is essentially nothing. So from here, we could pretty much just go for a dive somewhere, providing we're close enough. Maybe into this right-hander, I have thought about it, but no, we'll just settle in for behind. Fitcho is so nervous, and we're just going to try and play that to our strength if we can. Really nice exit there through the left-hander, and we're going to go for a dive at the inside on the penultimate corner, and no, nothing quite amounts of it there. Didn't get the drive there that I wanted, and there was actually contact there with only a few corners to go. Wow, what a race this has turned into. It's not over yet as we go up the straight for the final time. Rich revs. We're basically going to run the car out of fuel if we can. DRS has been enabled, and the run up to the line. Fitcho has won his first race of the season, and it comes in the final Grand Prix of Season 2 of F1 2016 League Racing. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this season. What a thrilling end to this Grand Prix. Well done, Fitcho. Had the consistency to hold on there. He even weathered the storm there in the final lap when we went for the move. It's quite cheeky from my point of view. I didn't mean to make contact, but I was still very desperate to get that move. But it wasn't to be. He wins the race, and with that, he gets second place in the driver's standings. But in terms of the constructors, we've won. Myself and Warden for Renault. So great effort there. And what a way to cap off the end of my first season of league racing in, 3 years. It's been a roller coaster season. A lot of ups, well, a few ups, a lot of downs, and some really hard racing in between. Today was just further evidence of that. And that's what online racing is all about. The battles we had with Greek Master, battling with our teammate, battling with Fitcho. It was awesome. And I've really enjoyed the racing that I've had in the last 6 months or so with Aussie Sim Racing. If you want to get involved, I'll leave a link down in the description to the website. That's it in terms of running for now. There will be a Champions League or a Race of Champions in 2 weeks' time. So that'll be like my final competitive race on F1 2016. But apart from that, that is pretty much the end of this league. Big thank you to Fit Show for everyone who turned up. And congratulations to New Zealand Ryan as well for winning the championship. F1 2017, it's going to be very interesting as well to see how quick the drivers are, if anyone has changed in the pecking order in terms of pace. It's going to be a brand new game altogether. The handling model is a lot different, so there could be some new contenders right up there in the mix. But that has been this league racing season. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. I really have. It's been really refreshing for me to jump into this league. A change of pace from career mode and single player. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. And this series will continue into F1 2017, like I said. And yeah, you guys will just have to stay tuned for that. There will be a montage or a season review coming out fairly soon, maybe a week away or so. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey. Yeah, we'll see what F1 2017 has in store. We'll be gunning for the championship. And hopefully it's just as entertaining as what this season has been as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and I'll see you guys for a brand new video very soon.